Hey, so today what I wanted to talk about was, making sure that you are not overly investing in a person, right? And overly investing can take a lot of forms. I was talking to someone and she was, discussing being abstinent, right? And I have nothing against being abstinent or celibate. It's a personal decision. There's a lot of reasons why you want to do that. I have nothing against that at all. But she seemed to really be hanging on to the fact that she was abstinent. But I had to point out that she was investing a lot of mental and emotional energy in one person, right? And I had to explain, hey, this actually isn't a very good situation either, right? And the reason why was because this person, even though he was totally okay with the idea of not sleeping together, this, that, and the other, he was still reaping the benefits of their emotional connection without giving her anything in return. The whole reason why she came and, spoke to me was because, she said, I don't get it. We spend a lot of time on the phone. We talk a lot. But he doesn't really give me anything in return, right? I sit there and listen to him, but then when it's time for me, it's like, right? And I said, yeah, you're going to have that. And in fact, especially when it comes to men and, how they kind of move about the world emotionally, they're actually not, a lot of them aren't doing that great at all. There's a lot of reasons for that. When it comes to men in general, they're raised to not be emotional. And that's something that happens when they're very small, right? This is something that they have learned for a very, very long time. That's really hard to unlearn without actually, talking through it with a professional, right? And so we're dealing with a group of people, men, who typically don't have anyone to really talk to. And if they do, it's a very, very small circle of people. And even then, too, it might be very surface, right? We're not really getting down to emotions and feelings about things, right? So when it comes to getting that particular need met, which is a need for humans have a need for connection, emotional connection, all that as far as, human, what was the word I'm looking for? It was just in my brain, then it left. But anyway, we're hardwired for human connection is what I was trying to say. And so, again, a lot of men just don't have that. So who do they turn to? A lot of them, they'll turn to women to try to fill that void, right? And sometimes, and they may not even realize it either, right? That they're essentially dealing with a person because of how they make them feel emotionally. But they may not be ready to commit. They may not have the emotional capacity at that time to really reciprocate what they're looking for, right? Because you can recognize a good thing, but not necessarily want to do anything with it or do anything about it, right? And that's something that we find a lot. So it's really, really important that you mind how you're investing your time and resources, and how they're choosing to invest their time and resources into you. And I'm not even just talking about money, right? Because you can invest in someone without money, because that's essentially what talking to people is, right? If someone is having a bad day and you're talking them through it, that was a time and resource investment on your part, right? And you're helping them to be a better person for it, right? That's what an investment is. It's a very multifaceted, complex thing. Investment. It's not just money. Just throwing money at something alone is not something that works out long term, right? Or any singular form of investment isn't going to work. A lot of times, it's not going to work out long term. You need multiple forms of investment, right? But I won't get into all of that. But anyway. What I'm saying is, for women especially, because we have a tendency, and it's our nature, we're not dumb because of this. Sometimes I see people saying, well, women are stupid for, just focusing on one person. It's our nature. It's just what we do. And that's not giving us a pass because it's our nature. We should, have discipline. But again, it's just our nature to do so. But what you want to do is make sure that you recognize that that's your nature, right? To do so, if that's the case. And govern yourself accordingly when it comes to who you're investing in and how much of your time and resources you're investing in them, right? Because if you don't, what happens is you're going to feel like everyone you come across is just take, just taking from you, right? And you're going to say, oh man, why are men just these takers? When in effect, it might just be you dealing with people who are takers, right? And that's not to discount anyone's experience or anything like that. But what happens when we don't mind our energy, don't mind our investment, is you kind of come across those situations, like a person that was, talking to me about her, being abstinent and everything, and dealing with a person who wasn't giving in return. You're going to keep running into that same problem, right? Over investing, because a lot of times when people see a good thing, right, they're just going to keep coming back for more. Right? And this isn't even a matter of, a lot of times people say, well, you teach them how to treat you and things like that. A lot of times people just, they kind of beeline towards someone that they see as, just being wide open, just like anyone doing anything, right? And for some people, that's just how they are. They see an available resource and they just hop right on it, right? They just take. And you want to avoid that, right? So again, I want to make sure that, women especially, we understand the importance of really reining it in when it comes to investing in a person. Even if it comes down to you saying to someone that you really like, say, hey, I really enjoy talking to you, but we really need to keep our conversations to about 30 minutes or so. I noticed that you're kind of hesitant when it comes to discussions about commitment. So let's I don't want to give any, impressions on my part either. So let's just, keep our conversations, pretty short, and just kind of go from there, right? No 4 hour. If you've been dating someone for 3 months and you've been talking for hours at night, and I'm not talking about teenagers. I did that with my first boyfriend, right? Falling asleep on the phone. No, I'm talking about grown-ups, right? It's about grown-ups. I'm a grown-up, right? If you're talking to someone for like hours and hours and hours, and it's been quite some time, and there's no commitment talks or anything like that, it's time to kind of rein it in and, reevaluate what's going on there, right? Because you don't want to end up heartbroken, feeling like you were used, feeling like you wasted your time, all of the above, when all you could have done was, try to get a grasp of the situation, right? And always keep it simple. Just ask them straight up. Don't try to sugarcoat or anything like that, because a lot of men, if they can kind of work in a gray area when it comes to this, they will, unfortunately, because as I explained before, just because they like you doesn't mean that they're going to do anything about it, right? It's not something that is about liking you or not. In fact, a lot of guys, the reason why they've chosen you is because they like you. They just don't like you enough to take the next step, right? Like I said, when it comes to actual commitment, there has to be a willingness there to do so, right? So yes, for today's video, I'm just talking about, making sure that we, mind our, mind how much investment we're putting into someone, during that, that vetting, that crucial vetting phase, right? Making sure that you're not putting too many eggs in one basket, and making sure that, just because you're doing one thing, like I said, like if you're being abstinent or celibate or anything like that, just because you're doing one thing like that, doesn't mean that you're not dropping the ball in other ways, in other areas, right? Because you'll get the wrong person, and that's not even to say that you'll end up sleeping with them. No, but your emotional investment is just as important as the other ways you invest in a person in your life, right? All right, so that's all I have for today.